it's very possible that the shutdown will go beyond the 28th and into the new Congress.
The shutdown's now in day 3. A portion of the government is not funded.
No deal in sight.
Democrats are not going to agree to any funding.
That's correct. None.
There is, frankly, no path toward a big, beautiful wall.
It's on the Democrat side because they're not willing to do anything.
They just will not give Donald Trump a victory.
This is all politics right now. You're not thinking about the people's lives that are at stake.
American troops are coming home. Defense Secretary James Mattis signing the order to pull U.S. soldiers out of Syria.
Mattis learns he'll be out of the White House sooner than he thought.
The Northwest bracing for a winter mess this Christmas. Parts of the region already covered with snow.
On 2nd and 19, Wilson throws. It's one-handed and caught.
In Seattle, beating the Kansas City Chiefs 38-31, clinching a wild card spot.
A Santa Claus proposes to his Mrs. Claus that he met 40 years ago. The St. Nick from Utah popping the question while in costume. That man has been playing Santa since he was 13 years old.
They're not on anymore?
Yes. How many seasons did it go?
Not many. Like, Ted, you know, right? You used to watch Glee. Yeah, no,
How many?
Glee. How many?
7.
Seven.
All right, we're hearing 7. That's the official.
Maybe Santa will bring it back. I don't know.
Okay. Ted
I think
loves
Goble's
Glee.
right down the ceiling, too, because I was just duped.
All right, so it's going to be a big final hour of the Christmas Eve edition of Fox and Friends, so let's get started.
All right, well, we asked for your Christmas cards, and you delivered. So we've got this Christmas card from Alicia, her dog Ozzy, wishing a furry and bright Christmas. There's Ozzy right there. Oh, what a little cutie.
Big emphasis on pets. Pets are moving into the spotlight.
As they should.
Right, and check this out. This is from Ashley wishing a Merry Kissmas.
Oh.
That's interesting. I think.
Is that like Kiss the band?
Oh,
yes.
oh.
Oh, yeah. See how it's yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes, it's metal.
You're
Took me
welcome.
a while.
You're welcome.
And this one you're looking at here, this is from the Sheelys, their little one fleeing Santa. Look at that. Run!
A little terrifying.
I
That made the
actually
cut.
think it's hilarious that they chose that photo for their Christmas card.
Yeah.
Well done. So you gotta have a little humor.
That's right. And we got one more
sometimes.
hour,
I mean,
so
come
keep
on.
sending us friends at foxnews.com, and we'll show them probably on this show.
All right. So meanwhile,
We'll try to.
back to some of the issues facing all of us.
Don't make me do it. Real news. You know, I leave Washington, but alas, the news won't stop there. And, you know, our troops are coming home. Defense Secretary James Mattis signing the order to pull American soldiers out of Syria.
And this as he learns he'll be out of the White House sooner than he thought.
Lucas Tomlinson is live at the Pentagon with the details. Hey, Lucas.
Hey, Brian. In a tweet Sunday, President Trump said he was forcing his defense secretary out 2 months early by January 1st, not late February, as Defense Secretary Mattis had requested in his resignation letter. Now, officials say the president didn't want to give Mattis the opportunity to attend a NATO ministerial meeting in Brussels or testify in front of Congress before leaving. In his place, President Trump says he will name current Deputy Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan acting Defense Secretary beginning New Year's Day. All this comes as Defense Secretary Mattis signed off on plans to withdraw all U.S. troops from Syria, but the pullout is expected to take longer than expected after President Trump spoke to his Turkish counterpart yesterday for the second time in 10 days. President Trump said in a tweet the U.S. pullout would be slow and highly coordinated with Turkey. Critics say this is a mistake. Former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta told Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday the fight against ISIS in Syria is not over, despite what President Trump claims.
This is not a time when you're dealing with terrorist groups who can reorganize and threaten the security of our country. This is not a time to back away from that responsibility.
Now, while U.S. troops are pulling out of Syria, more than 5,000 will remain in neighboring Iraq and could be used to launch a strike mission into Syria if necessary, guys.
So let me ask you something, Lucas. With General Mattis leaving, is there a worry that it's going to demoralize just about everybody in the Pentagon, and especially not even getting the 2 months to sign off slowly?
Well, Brian, certainly it was seen as a surprise yesterday when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called his friend, Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, to say he had to being forced out 2 months early. That means that Mattis is not going to be able to go potentially visit his troops, say goodbye, or testify in front of Congress. There's big budget hearings in Congress expected early next year. Mattis wanted $750 billion. The president said he had wanted something much lower than that. So Mattis is certainly, it was a surprise here that Mattis would have to leave so quickly, Brian.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Lucas.
Thanks, Lucas.
Merry Christmas.
It is going to be interesting to see what happens because Mattis is, at the top of the totem pole, if you will, in terms of respect. But again, this is a different administration, and what happens next, clearly this administration isn't not taking ISIS threat serious. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I thoroughly believe, America doesn't want people stationed overseas throughout time. People always get impatient with war. Why is it taking so long to win or be successful? However, there was almost no pressure to get 2,000 troops out of Syria because they weren't in the battle. I mean, it's always dangerous, but they were training, they were supplying, they were arming, they were helping plotting and plan against our enemy, and that was this terrorist organization called ISIS and al-Nusra in the area. I worry about the Kurds fighting like real warriors. Now they're going to be facing Turkey. Turkey's leader told the president that he'll take care of ISIS. He's not going to take care of ISIS. He's never taken care of ISIS. He's going to take care of the Kurds, who are allies. Russia's not going to take care of ISIS. They couldn't care less about ISIS. Syria couldn't care less about ISIS. ISIS now has free reign because they are nobody's focus. We were their focus.
And another thing that we're watching right now, we're on day 3 of the government shutdown. President Trump, Mick Mulvaney, was making the rounds yesterday. He was saying that the Trump administration is willing to compromise. It doesn't seem like Democrats are willing to buzz. We had Tammy Bruce talking about this earlier, and she said that Democrats are frightened because they know that President Trump is a man of action. Take a listen to what she had to say.
The difference here, I think, and why they're being so aggressive on this, Congress, is because they know President Trump will get it done. People say, oh, they voted for this before, but it never really happened, did it? They know now there's a man of action in the White House, and this is what frightens them.
So, as we look at this, you're talking about a fight over 0.3% of the budget, but yet Senator Corker from Tennessee, he, of course, is retiring. He's leaving, but he hasn't held his tongue about criticism about President Trump. And here's what he says about this whole fight over the border.
This is a purposely contrived fight over, at the end of the day, even no matter who wins, our borders are still going to be insecure. Now the government is shut down over what ultimately is going to be $2 billion. This is a made-up fight so the president can look like he's fighting, but even if he wins, our borders are going to be insecure.
President tweeted right back at him. He says, Bob Corker is responsible for giving us the horrible Iran nuke deal, which I ended, yet he badmouths me for wanting to bring your young people safely back home. Bob wanted to run and ask for my endorsement. I said no. He had 2 more tweets right after that. So the president didn't take kindly to that.
Well, but this is not a made-up fight. And clearly both parties agree that there needs to be some sort of barrier at the southern border. This is why Democrats have, on a couple of different occasions, voted for billions of dollars towards fencing. So what I don't understand, if you agree on the fact that there needs to be some sort of physical infrastructure along the southern border serving as a barrier, what's the difference between that and the wall? And so I think this really gets down to semantics. It gets down to politics and wanting to deny President Trump that key campaign promise that he made.
Here's an idea, right? Well, we got to shut down, call Congress, joint session, and have a hearing and get the head of CBP, the head of Border Patrol, and say, what do you need?
So what I would love to see the president do is something we've seen, and we have the video, a flat screen. This is our border. This is where it works. This is where they're coming. This is what I need. Just show them. Don't keep politics out of it. The president's not asking for something that is not practical. He's asking for something very practical. He's also going to say, this is why the bollard fence is going to work here. This is how a virtual fence does work like Schumer wants. This is where we have mountains. This is where we have rivers. This is where my greatest complaints come and the help is most needed from Border Patrol. The president could present it. He's a great communicator. He could do exactly. In fact, take a wide shot at Jillian. Jillian, what's right next to you? Jillian, you have a flat screen. Tell me the president can't sit there, touch that flat screen, and go ahead and touch it and bring us through the whole border.
Or he could just have Jillian do it because she's doing such a great job.
Right.
Just go through.
He could exactly do that. Sorry, Jillian.
I would rather she does it.
That was a premature toss. I apologize.
That was a premature toss.
All right, here's what you're saying about how this should end, because right now Mick Mulvaney and the vice president are running the president's message to Congress. They're taking a day off for Christmas, 2 days off for Christmas, then they're going back to work.
But we asked you guys at home what you thought of this shutdown fight, and of course you weighed in. We've got a tweet from Ike, and he says, keep it shut down and build the wall. Straightforward right there.
And here's an email from George. It really hits, I think, the heart of it. He says, Trump said that he would build a border wall, and I expect him to build that wall. The government can stay shut down.
Right. Mercedes Schlapp is the White House senior advisor for strategic communications, and he'll be joining us at about 8:15. Here's the other thing to keep in mind. Nancy Pelosi wants stuff. Democrats have an agenda too. Remember the days where we would see what the Democrat agenda was and the Republican agenda was, and then they would compromise, and we could sit on this couch and talk about who got the better deal as opposed to who's right in the standoff? So I'm wondering, does Nancy Pelosi want to become Speaker and then have nothing to do except try to end a shutdown that the president won't budge on?
Well, I also think there's something that's really missing from the conversation. A lot of people aren't talking about this, which is the deal with President Trump and Mexico, because a big problem we're facing outside of just a porous southern border is the asylum seekers coming, that we've seen massive increases in asylum seekers. 89% will pass that initial interview. Only 9% who actually show up in immigration court will be granted asylum. So clearly they are gaming the system, and this deal with Mexico essentially keeps those asylum seekers in Mexico. They wait for their court cases to go through the proceedings here. And this is huge because a lot of times these individuals go missing. So this is a big deal that it's not getting covered.
We'll have to see because Mexico has a new president, but we still have Jillian here. What's going on over there?
Still here at the
and unlike the Mexican president, not a socialist.
Thank you very much for that, Brian. Okay.
Great endorsement.
Yes, that was wonderful. We do have a Fox News alert now. A manhunt is underway after someone fired a machine gun at a restaurant in Brussels. The restaurant was closed at the time, and local reports no one was hurt. Police do not suspect terrorism. Belgium's capital city has been on edge in recent years because of terror-related attacks. New evidence in the search for a missing mom found 700 miles away from her home in Colorado. Police in Twin Falls, Idaho won't say what they found. Officials previously confirmed Kelsey Barrett's cell phone pinged there 3 days after she was last seen on Thanksgiving Day. Police do not think she is alive. Her fiancé is charged with her murder. German magazine Der Spiegel is filing criminal charges against a former reporter who made stories up. Klaas Raloyes admitted to fabricating facts in more than a dozen stories. He recently came under fire for making things up about a small Minnesota town, including its views on faith and President Trump. He was named the CNN Journalist of the Year in 2014. CNN rescinded that award. And how's this for a Christmas gift? The Mega Millions jackpot reaching $321 million for tomorrow night's drawing. That is the biggest jackpot ever offered on Christmas Day. If you're the lucky winner, you'll have a cash option of nearly $194 million. There have been 5 jackpot wins so far this year. Wouldn't that be a heck of a Christmas gift, huh? $194 million?
I would not mind it.
I would just take
I'm not going to lie.
I like round numbers. A little odd.
So you would not take it because it's not.
It's out. Meanwhile, thank you very much, Jillian.
I would. So
coming up straight ahead, it's a debate that's going on for years. It's Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Dennis Prager says it's Merry Christmas, and so does Lisa. All the way, and we'll tell you why that's important.
Plus, after dozens of surgeries and sacrificing for our country, a wounded hero gets the homecoming of a lifetime.
Seeing a massive American flag and then pulling onto our street just means everything.
All right, welcome back, everyone. A little quicker than I thought. President Trump has been talking about the war on Christmas for years.
They don't use the word Christmas because it's not politically correct. You go to department stores and they'll say Happy New Year and they'll say other things. Well, guess what? We're saying Merry Christmas again.
All right, our next guest agrees that saying Merry Christmas is important. He is here to explain. It's radio talk show host, and he's the founder of the Prager University, Dennis Prager. Dennis, nobody knows more about religion, all types of religion, and theories and traditions than you. Why does Merry Christmas matter?
It matters because it's a national holiday, first of all. People have to understand, I'm a Jew, okay? Christmas is not my religious holiday, but Christmas is my national holiday on de facto and legal grounds. On the legal grounds, it's a national holiday. I honor my country. Number 2, the vast majority of my fellow citizens celebrate this holiday. It's the notion, and this is the most important point, the notion that if you don't celebrate Christmas or if you're not a Christian, you are offended by it, is so preposterous that words fail me. Preposterous is an understatement. Why would I be offended as a Jew if you said to me, as a non-Christian, if you said to me Merry Christmas? The idea is so narcissistic and so absurd. This is the holiday of this season. And to deny that there is a war on Christmas is to lie. when I went to school, there were Christmas vacations. There was Christmas, obviously, Merry Christmas, Christmas decorations, not holiday decorations. There were Christmas parties, not holiday parties. But now it's all holiday. So to deny that there has been a major attempt in the last 50 years or so to de-Christmasize Christmas, to de-Christianize the country, for that matter, is to tell an untruth. That's why it's a big deal. And that's why this person who doesn't celebrate it as a religious day still thinks it is critically important.
Well, and Dennis, isn't that really what this is about? Because saying happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas, isn't it just about removing Christ from the scenario?
Well, as I said, there's no, look, the left, and I always distinguish between left and liberals, the left loathes Christianity. I mean, to deny that is to live in a fairy tale. And they would like to radically secularize the United States. They don't like In God We Trust on our coins. They don't like Christmas as a national holiday. They don't like Christmas vacations. Anything that betokens the religious origins and foundation, it's foundational religion in this country. I fear a radically secularized America. I fear it. As a Jew, I fear it. That's why I keep saying I don't normally go around as a Jew, but for this discussion, it's important because people will think, oh, a guy's a Christian. Of course he's saying it, but I'm not. I fear it. I know what has happened in Europe. I know what happens in the United States when people no longer have a God-based frame of reference for their ethics. You know, 2/3 of the Americans' kids, high school kids I've asked in the last 40 years, would you save your dog or a stranger if both were drowning? Won't save the stranger because I love my dog. I don't love the stranger. But if you have a Judeo-Christian value system, you know that people are created in God's image.
Gotcha.
Dogs are not. And I love my dogs.
Right.
These are big issues.
Gotcha.
Big issues.
And Dennis, we always get that every time we talk to you. You learn something, and every time we get your book, we're a better people for it. And Prager University is invaluable.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dennis.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Hey, remember this: students slamming President Trump's State of the Union address before it even happened.
It's something that I wouldn't have expected to happen in, like, our lifetime.
It's offensive. It is crazy, but I'm not shocked by it.
Lawrence Jones has a look back at the craziest campus moments of the year.
Plus, White House Senior Communications Advisor Mercedes Schlapp with an update on the shutdown coming up next, so stay tuned with us.
Time now for some quick headlines. Reported drone sightings shut down Gatwick Airport for 36 hours. Now, British police say there's a chance no drones were even there. Authorities say all reports were based on witnesses believing that's what they saw. Officials did find a damaged drone near the airport. It's being tested for forensic evidence. In this, a student pilot's first flight ends with an emergency landing on an Alabama highway.
Let's pull over and make sure everybody's okay. Pull behind them, please.
Pull behind them?
Yeah, pull behind the plane and make sure they're... What are they doing?
Oh, you don't see that every day. The plane's engine failed. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Wow, does it hit the underpass?
Who knows?
All right, 24 minutes after the hour. Back to Griff for reading.
Go ahead. All right, President Trump working out to hammer a deal as the government remains shut down and Democrats refusing to budge.
So, Mr. President, President Trump, if you want to open the government, you must abandon the wall. Plain and simple.
To be clear, Democrats are not going to agree to any funding to build new border wall? None?
That's correct. None.
Fantastic. Are these children or are they adults? Mercedes Schlapp is in the White House. She's the director of strategic communications and often probably wonders, why did I take this job?
Oh, I love my job.
I know you do. So where's the give there? I heard Mick Mulvaney open up to Chris Wallace and say, we were at 5, they were at 1.3, maybe it's around $2 billion. What do you say?
Look, this is part of the negotiation deal. So at this point, as Mick Mulvaney had mentioned, it's really up to the Democrats in the sense that we've offered them a deal. We'll see what they come back with. Our goal is to get somewhere between 1.6 and 5 billion. I mean, this is so ironic that it's the Democrats, like Schumer, who said that we need strong border security, where Durbin has said that we need to find a bipartisan solution to border security, yet they are not willing to budge, at least at this point, in terms of providing funds for physical barrier in that area. And as we know, illegal crossings have increased over 90% in the last 2 months. And you've seen the issue with the caravan. That's been a huge crisis on the border. And the mere fact is that at this moment, if we want to make border security a bipartisan issue, the Democrats need to step up to the plate. It's up to them to stop the shutdown.
Well, and Mercedes, this is President Trump's signature issue. Clearly, Trump supporters want the wall. Do you worry that it would have a demoralizing effect on his base if he does not deliver it?
Look, this is not about the president's base. This is about the safety of the American people. As we know, President Trump has talked time and time again about the importance of securing our border. We want to stop the inflow of drugs into our country, which impacts communities, American communities across the country and our youth. We want to stop human trafficking. This is an issue that impacts, again, American communities, areas both urban and rural. And we also want to focus on stopping illegal immigration. I mean, there is an orderly process. There is a legal process. We are a nation of laws. We want to ensure that we're able to stop what we keep seeing, which is this continual and increased flow of illegal immigrants. I mean, this is what you've seen, for example, with the caravan, which time and time again has been thousands of people waiting to come into the United States.
Mercedes, I want to ask you about another topic, and that is Secretary Mattis, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, signing an order withdrawing troops from Syria, something that he advised the president against. Now the president really running up the departure date for Mattis by January 1st, and it's got a lot of people wondering what's going on there.
Well, first of all, I think the president made a campaign promise. It was very much people knew from the beginning what his position was on Syria, which was to bring the troops home at the right moment. And what we have seen is pretty much the destruction of the territorial caliphate in Syria. He, at this point, said, we got to bring our troops home. So this is something where the president listened to many people in the process and made this decision to move forward on Syria. With that, he had a call with the Turkish President Erdogan on basically this issue of basically a slow withdrawal, making sure that they have the logistical support to ensure that they continue to get rid of any of the remains of the caliphate in Syria. Obviously, the safety of our troops is a top priority. It's time to bring the troops home.
Can you name an advisor the president has that recommended he pull out 2,000 troops?
I'm not going to get into the internal discussions of how the decision was made. At the end of the day, we all serve in the position of advising the president. It is up to the president to make the final decision. We knew from the moment he started in his campaign where he stood on Syria, which was that we were going to ensure the defeat of the territorial caliphate in Syria. And the president and this administration, our troops have done that. And so now it's this opportunity to bring our troops home with a slow withdrawal back to the United States and really focus in on ensuring that it is about keeping our troops safe. We have done our job there, and it's time to move forward. Is there frustration on the president's part, Mercedes, that this is being blown out of proportion? You know, I think that the president feels very strongly about his decision in Syria. He last week met with both members of the Senate and the House, Republican members of the Senate and the House, to have this conversation about Syria, and he made his case to them. You know, obviously, when it's the senators, they have their own opinion as to, and many of them are very hawkish, and they have their own opinion on how Syria should be handled. For the president, he's looked and obviously consulted many people in the process and has made the decision that we have done our job in Syria and it's time to bring the troops home. And he's working with the Turkish president to ensure that they are able to take on the role of getting rid of ISIS in the area.
But they never have. But does he talk to the Turkish president about not annihilating the Kurds? Did he get guarantees that the Kurds who have been doing our fighting will not be destroyed?
he sent a very strong message to the Turkish president. In fact, we know that the Turkish president invited both John Bolton and General Joe Dunford to go to Turkey to continue these conversations. Okay. Again, we will be there to provide logistical support for the Turkish forces and ensure again that they are able to focus on defeating ISIS in Syria.
All right, Mercedes. Now what you have left to do is have a Merry Christmas, and we will make sure your husband Matt takes care of that promptly.
Okay, that sounds great. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mercedes.
Merry Christmas to you. And by the way, Christmas.
And your family.
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you. And by the way, Christmas is less than 24 hours away. Like, it's right upon us right now. But people are still shopping to get the perfect gift. We're live with Last Minute Shoppers next.
And those shoppers will be pretty hungry once they hit home, right? Celebrity chef George Duran is here with a simple and tasty recipe for your Christmas ham.
If you have
for this show, and that's why Last Minute Shoppers are at it right now.
And several stores are open for business.
I'm not sure if that's true. That's why we want to go out to Jeff Flock, who's with our sister network, not brother network, Fox Business Network. He joined us from Chicago. Is your lead-in correct at all?
Yeah, well, it's not open right where we are yet. This is the Magnificent Mile. It will be open, though, in about 2 hours' time. This is 900 North Michigan. Look at that tree, by the way. That is a 4-story tree in this mall. They got some money to spend, and so do shoppers. It's going to be a good one. National Retail Federation said in a survey that a lot of people are still shopping. Take a look at the numbers. Survey says 44% got done before this weekend, but fully a quarter of shoppers were still shopping on Super Saturday and Sunday yesterday, and 7% will not finish until today. And that's why bricks and mortar is king today. If you haven't gotten it yet, chances of getting it online pretty slim, anything of significance. So people will be doing it the old-fashioned way, going to the store and picking it out, touching the item and everything else. And 4%, by the way, say they will shop after Christmas when there are bargains to be had. It's going to be a good year, I think, though, for retailers. Happy Christmas.
Jeff, what's better, giving or receiving?
It was always better getting when I was younger. Now that I'm older, you can't take it with you, man. So you got to give it away. And I get much more pleasure now giving it away.
For gifts. And also, that tree is phenomenal behind you.
Isn't it something?
What a beautiful tree.
I don't think it's real, but let's see. What's in there?
I don't think it would fit in my studio apartment.
All right, Jeff.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, very much. One that's too big, I got to cut.
Just cut them off.
Christmas Eve. It wasn't my choice.
Somebody's got to be the Grinch, and I've got to give Jillian something.
I was going to say, you know who we're not going to cut off? Jillian.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of power.
Good morning, guys. Merry Christmas. Let's get you caught up on some of your news that we're following, starting with this. At least 373 people are dead and more than 1,000 hurt after a volcano triggers a tsunami off the coast of Indonesia. Rescue crews digging through rubble as they frantically search for survivors. Authorities are warning more tsunamis could strike. President Trump tweeting in part, quote, "We are praying for recovery and healing. America is with you." Pot shops are cashing in on Christmas. Shoppers are giving legal marijuana as holiday gifts. Dispensaries in California are running promotions selling edible Christmas candies and pre-rolled joints as stocking stuffers. 10 states and the District of Columbia have legalized recreational marijuana. After spending several months in space, gravity presents quite the challenge. Astronaut AJ Fustel tweeting this video showing his struggle to walk in a straight line with his eyes closed. The video was taken right after he returned from the International Space Station. He was there for 197 days. That video is really incredible. A wounded veteran gets a hero's welcome for Christmas after undergoing more than 100 surgeries.
Seeing a massive American flag and then pulling onto our street just means everything.
My oldest asked Santa to, bring Daddy home. I feel like every veteran should feel this level of appreciation. It's so special.
Oh. Mike Verardo is reunited with his 3 little girls and wife. They set up a surprise welcome home for him in North Carolina. He lost his leg and most of his left arm while serving in Afghanistan. Let's look at your headlines. Send it to you.
All right, Jillian. Meanwhile, thanks, Jillian. If it's with your blessing, I'd like to ask if Adam would tell us the weather.
No.
Please.
Adam, would you tell us the weather?
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you the weather. Thank you for giving the blessing, Jillian.
Does this look okay? It's finished now. We've got the ice sculpture completely finished.
Have you been there for 3 hours?
I have. You should have seen the work he was doing around this with me, with my head in there. It was a dangerous job, but somebody's got to do it. We've got a great crowd out here. Christmas Eve, it doesn't matter. Folks are still climbing out here. Just a little bit of a sprinkle in the air. Now, if you bring a sign, I'm bound to come talk to you. And if you pay me, I'm really bound to come talk to you. I saw you a little bit earlier. You've got this sign. You're from Ohio, and your son, Fred.
From South Carolina.
$100. You're from South Carolina.
No, my son, Fred, is in South Carolina.
He's in South Carolina, and he's going to give you
$100. He told me if I came and visited the show and brought a catchy sign, I'd get on TV. And
Hey, Elizabeth.
I made up the part about the $100. So thanks,
Oh, well, that doesn't.
He's gonna give it to you, no.
I'm still planning how I'm going to spend my cut of this money. All right, we got to look at the forecast really quick. Everybody wants to say hi. Here's what we're looking at. A little bit of drizzle out here, guys. I don't think we're going to be talking. No, you guys keep talking away. We're going to see snow across the mid-Atlantic, stretching up to New England. Really, the only big weather system we're looking at is out on the West Coast. Some winter storms, warnings, watches. All right, we got to wrap this thing up. Everybody, what do you want to say? Throw it back into him. Everybody get it in right now. Now's the time. All right, thanks, guys.
Great crowd. Great job, Adam. Meanwhile, cooking for family and friends can be stressful during the holidays. You're probably experiencing that right now. But our next guest has some simple, delicious recipes to make everyone happy, so get a pen and paper ready.
Celebrity chef and author George Duran is here to show us how it's done, and he's glad I've stopped eating this awesome food that I've been doing.
What's your focus, George?
My goodness, you gotta love ham and sausage during the holidays, but the beauty of ham is that it's so versatile. I'm gonna teach you how to make a glaze. Now, a lot of these hams, like this one from Kentucky Legend, they come with a glazing mix. If you have time, we're going to make a glaze from scratch. This is a pineapple brown sugar glaze. All you're going to do is add brown sugar, butter, pineapple juice, a little bit of mustard, honey. Just keep adding those into there.
Are you going to let her do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
How much?
All of it. Whatever you see there, the whole thing adds in there.
Thing.
Yeah,
that's easy.
We have the recipe on the Fox News website, actually. So again, it's a brown sugar, pineapple
and just
glaze,
everything in it.
and everything else. Butter, honey, cinnamon, all of it goes in there.
Why are you so hesitant?
I don't
And
know.
as you put that in there, let me just show you what it looks like after it's all done over here. It's a
because she's going too slow.
It's an absolutely gorgeous glaze that you pretty much take any of these hams, and I'm working with Kentucky Legend hams over here, by the way. These guys are double hickory smoked. They're the #1 ham in the country. And what you're going to pretty much do, let me have this right over here, actually a spoon over here, and we're just going to glaze our hams. So they have the half ham over here.
In there, you know
no, it's not a big deal. I just keep going. That's what the holidays are about.
So paddock in my house.
So you pretty much glaze all the ham that you bring over here. So this is the semi ham, the little half ham that is already sliced in there. This is the semi ham. This is a small ham. So the beauty of this is that you can go for a large ham for the holidays, maybe a half ham for a smaller family, and then for every day you want to make little ham sandwiches, you go this route over here, which is the petite ham, already pre-sliced for you. And the beauty is that this glaze, not only are you putting it on the ham, you serve it on the side next to this little petite hams. Kentucky Legend also actually has an artisan series, artisan crafted sausages, premium sausages. The flavors are incredible. You have the bacon cheddar ham, jalapeno cheddar, smoked. I made a smoked sausage
I need to know
mac and
about
cheese.
this.
Yeah, so this is
That
the
looks good.
Kentucky Legend artisan series, artisan crafted sausages, actually. The flavors are enormous. They even have a raspberry chipotle. These are brand new in your supermarket, or ask your manager of the supermarket to get them for you. And the versatility is enormous. Again, you can serve them raw like this, which is actually not raw. It's cooked already. So you can serve them cold, all the hams, or you can heat them up simply, add them to your dishes.
I need this in my belly.
And we get this on FoxNews.com?
On FoxNews.com, yeah.
All right, so you don't have to play it back into your
No,
DVR. Thank you, George.
No, absolutely. Here we go.
All right, George, great job. If you're thinking ham, this is your man. Thanks for that.
That's right, that's true.
Did you just come up with that?
I sound like Dr. Seuss.
That was very...
Fantastic. Hey, thanks, George. You just keep at it. Meanwhile, remember this. Students blasting President Trump's Supreme Court pick before he even announced it.
It's almost at a point where you kind of expect that it's not going to be what you want.
He's quite, extreme in his views.
Right. Lawrence Jones has a look back at the craziest campus moments of the year.
And before Santa heads down your chimney, he's catching some waves. We're live with the Surfing Santas in Florida. Paddle, 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 paddle.
Melekeke is a thing.